What exactly was Snoke? We know that Palpatine made him, as he claimed in The Rise of Skywalker. Shortly after he said that, the camera panned to the right and we saw a whole vat of what looked like defunct Snoke clones, or something along those lines. So it implies that Snoke was obviously created and used as a figurehead for Palpatine, that he was using Snoke to control the First Order and set the stage for his own return and that of the Sith Eternal and the Final Order. We know now that Snoke was also a test for Kylo. He was basically a means of pushing Kylo further into the dark side, essentially manipulating and torturing him so that he would be a prime candidate to lead the First Order and the other dark side forces. To quote from the Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary, Snoke's entire existence has been built for this moment, to be the final test of Kylo Ren. The Supreme Leader has tested Ren's worthiness as a disciple and, unbeknownst to all, his capacity to inherit the Sith legacy. Palpatine and his Sith Eternal designed Snoke to take over the First Order because, as other books have shown us, the First Order was initially created by surviving Imperials that escaped into the unknown regions after the Battle of Jakku. Snoke wasn't always in control of the First Order, but once he was sent off into the galaxy by the Sith Eternal from Exegol, he eventually made his way to that position of Supreme Leader. Since then, he's pretty much acted on Palpatine's orders. He did have autonomy, though. Palpatine wasn't, explicitly puppeteering him. Snoke was his own person, so to speak. Snoke was a puppet for Palpatine, and yes, they said that Palpatine had been pulling the strings at the very beginning, but Snoke was acting on orders rather than being mind-controlled. So how and why exactly did Snoke come into existence? He's clearly not of any known species, and his entries in the sequel film visual dictionaries list him as unknown. According to the Secrets of the Sith sourcebook, Snoke was a genetic experiment, as could be assumed from the vat in Rise of Skywalker. However, the Sith Eternal were actually trying to construct a viable host for Palpatine's essence. When his first body perished at Endor, his essence transferred to a prepared host body on Exegol, but his host body could not contain him. To quote Palpatine from that book, he says, "My new body's deformities were severe. Unable to leave Exegol, I would have to spread my influence across the galaxy through less direct means. As part of their genetic experiments, my followers had attempted to create another being that came to be known as Snoke. Although his body proved unworthy of containing my dark essence, Snoke's natural sensitivity to the Force would make him a powerful puppet nonetheless." To answer the question of Snoke's unknown species, he actually isn't anything. He's what's called a Strandcast, which is a genetically engineered creation based off of a person's template. A Strandcast is basically a type of clone. To compare, just for simplicity's sake, the clones of Jango Fett were basic clones that were direct copies of Jango's DNA template, except with the added accelerated aging effect. Snoke was completely artificially created, with no singular template that he was based off of, and therefore categorized as a Strandcast. Since there were multiple Snokes, it's safe to assume that the first Snoke Strandcast was cloned, so that would make them all cloned Strandcasts. Another example of a Strandcast is Rey's father. He was created using Sidious as a template, but because he was genetically altered during the cloning process, he is categorized as a Strandcast rather than a direct clone of Palpatine. In all honesty, I'm actually not completely sure about the validity of the differences between a Strandcast and a clone. It's just what I've come to understand from reading everything. I could be way off base here. If you think differently or have any ideas about Snoke and his status as a Strandcast, let me know in the comment section. As usual though, thank you for checking out the video. I hope you liked it.